Chapter 1 I Became a Kryptonian. You are listening at NovelsMarvel.audio. Lucifer felt lucky. With so many people in the world, it was finally his turn to travel through time, and it was not just an ordinary travel through time, but he was chosen by God to travel through time. Then he became a Kryptonian. Fortunately, he did not draw a slime or a slug to start the game, otherwise Lucifer felt that he might want to commit suicide. Lucifer, a native of the Celestial Empire on Earth, surnamed Lu and given name Lucifer, now he has become a chosen child, no, a chosen adult. God was very kind and said that Lucifer could travel through the world at will, and he was only level 1 at the beginning. You can level up by killing monsters. As for what is a monster, it depends on Lucifer's own definition. Anyway, as long as it is a powerful monster, you can level up after killing it, and by the way, the upper limit of this level is infinite. The Superman who surpasses the multiverse level is just around the corner. Then Lucifer traveled to a place like a different world, but he did not see elves and orcs, and he didn't know where this place was for a while. After all, God said that he would only travel to the world he was familiar with, including movies, TV series, animation, comics, and even novels. Fortunately, the sun in this world is yellow. Lucifer himself only got the template of the Kryptonian, so he doesn't have the Kryptonian genes. The yellow sun will not make him stronger, but will only charge him, that is, add a quick recovery state, and he is also restrained by kryptonite and the red sun. If he wants to become stronger and improve his resistance, there is only one way, which is to upgrade, but Lucifer thinks that compared to Superman, who has to sleep in the sun for tens of thousands of years before he can become a multiverse-level god, he can upgrade infinitely, and the time he spends is definitely much less than Superman. The Empire is going to recruit soldiers to deal with the Northern aliens. I heard that the treatment of soldiers is good. Lucifer heard the passers-by next to him discussing the recruitment. He is only level 1 now, and his super brain is not that powerful, but it is not difficult to learn another language. Northern aliens. It sounds familiar. Lucifer began to think and search his memory, and then found the answer, the Northern aliens in slash. Red eyes. I didn't expect to travel to this world. Lucifer was a little excited. The main reason was that although this world was warm, healing, worth watching, and regretful for others, Lucifer had no feelings about the girls who died in it. He was only interested in Esdeath. The protagonists were more like a group of people who were fooled and sent to die. After all, the northern foreign races had invaded the border of the Empire for so many years, killing countless innocent people, and even the race of Esdeath was destroyed. As a result, the Revolutionary Army wanted to lead the northern foreign races to destroy the Empire. This kind of collusion with foreign races can only be said that the cultural level of the protagonists is too low. Even Nageshitan, who was a general, can be so naive. Those who are not of my race must have different hearts. The background setting is, about 1,000 years ago, in order to maintain long-term rule, the founding emperor of the empire raised unimaginable financial resources and power, and summoned the world's top craftsmen, using legendary super-dangerous species as materials, rare metals such as Ohari steel and a large number of lost secrets, to develop 48 weapons that cannot be replicated, and called them Imperial tools. Lucifer does not intend to join the army. As a Kryptonian, even if he is a templated Kryptonian, Lucifer also has all kinds of superpowers that Kryptonians should have, and he is not weak in calculation, so he plans to go directly to the minister, the Fat Man. What surprised Lucifer was that he seemed to have traveled a little early, and the little emperor was not yet an emperor. His parents were still alive and were not killed by Ernest, but this was not bad. Who is it? General Bud quickly appeared and intercepted Lucifer when Lucifer fell from the sky in front of the emperor. Although His Majesty the Emperor was frightened, he quickly regained his composure. Your Majesty, I'm here to join the Empire. Lucifer said bluntly. Just for Esdeath, he would join the Empire. On the one hand, it was to save trouble. As long as he became a high-ranking official in the Empire, Lucifer would not have to worry about other things and could concentrate on killing monsters and upgrading. He needs to eat, sleep and have fun. It is impossible for him to only kill monsters and upgrade. On the other hand, it was for Esdeath. He originally wanted to deal with the Fat Man Ernest, or simply kill him and replace him. As a result, the Emperor was still there, which made it much easier. Join the Empire? You are not an Imperial man. That the Emperor heard what Lucifer meant, and General Bud said nothing. His duty was only to protect the safety of the royal family. He was even very loyal and would not care about other things that were not his business. This allowed Ernest to harm the loyal people at will. That's right, I come from the Empire in the Far East. I am the strongest warrior there. Lucifer knew that he was killing. There are other countries in the world of Scarlet Eyes, and there are many areas that the Empire has not explored. It seems that the water is very deep. The strongest warrior. Then why did you leave your country and join the Empire? That the Emperor asked puzzledly. The Emperor was said to be a benevolent and kind Emperor who loved his people in the background of the original plot, so it was incomprehensible why someone would leave his country. I was persecuted, and a treacherous minister framed me. I didn't want to kill people from my own country, so I chose to leave. Lucifer knew the other party's personality, so it was easy for him to deal with it. The Emperor nodded slightly. Joining the Empire, you don't want a simple identity, right? Of course not. I have learned about the current situation of the Empire. I can eliminate the northern ethnic groups for the Empire, as long as I become a general. Lucifer said confidently. Of course, he also knew that the Emperor would not trust him so easily, unless the other party was a little emperor who was easy to fool. Northern ethnic groups. The Emperor frowned. This is indeed a headache for him, repeatedly violating the border and harming the people of the Empire on the border, but the Empire has no way to deal with them. Before Esdeath appeared, the Empire had no way to deal with the northern ethnic groups. The Imperial soldiers who were accustomed to the warm climate in the south were no match for the northern ethnic groups in the cold and freezing weather, even if their numbers far exceeded those of the northern ethnic groups. Of course, the southern tribes also tied up a lot of the Empire's energy. Later, this tribe was also destroyed by Esdeath. At that time, Esdeath had not yet obtained the Imperial weapon. Chapter 2, The Strongest Warrior with Many Mistakes. You are listening at NovelsMarvel.audio. I can't possibly believe you just because of your words. His Majesty the Emperor said hesitantly. This is normal. No one with a qualified IQ can be fooled by words, let alone an emperor who is in a high position. General Bud is also not optimistic about how capable Lucifer, an outsider, can be. After all, who knows whether what he said is true or false, whether he left after being framed, or whether he was kicked out. Who knows? Of course I can't lead troops in war, I said. I am the strongest warrior in my country, strong enough to fight one against 10,000. Lucifer did not brag that he was a foreign general or anything. People need to be self-aware. It is impossible to say that they understand the art of war just because they have read Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Romance of the Sui and Tang dynasties, Chronicles of the Three Kingdoms, Spring and Autumn Hegemony, Qin Shi Mingyu, and 9 Songs of Heaven. At that time, just getting started and leading troops will cause a lot of problems, and others will know at a glance that you are not a professional. On the contrary, with one enemy against 10,000, Lucifer felt that it was not difficult at all. A level 1 Kryptonian was also a Kryptonian, and the sun gave him a steady stream of energy, so it was not difficult at all to kill 10,000 people. The Emperor suddenly raised his eyebrows. 1 against 10,000? The General Bud next to my Emperor is the strongest man in the Empire. He and his Taigu, Thunder God Wrath, Admalek, are enough to rival thousands of armies. Are you confident to give it a try? His Majesty the Emperor is still kind and reserved in his words. As long as Lucifer gives in, he won't care. General Bud also stood up cooperatively, with thunder and lightning flashing in his hand. What is a Taigu? Lucifer was silent for a moment and then asked. He was not sure whether he could beat General Bud, so he pretended not to know about the Taigu. In this way, if he couldn't beat him, he could also say that there was no such thing as the Taigu in his country, so it was normal that he couldn't beat him. However, during the battle, General Bud, as a warrior, should be able to experience the power of the Kryptonians and give an objective evaluation. The Taigu is. Before the Emperor spoke, General Bud explained himself. It was normal for foreigners not to know the Taigu. Even if some of the Taigu were lost to places like the Western Kingdom, the Western Kingdom is not a Western nation, it was normal for foreigners to know the Taigu. The possibility is very small, because the number itself is not large, and most of the 48 Imperial equipment are still in the Empire. Is it this kind of magical thing? I've never seen it before, but just think of it as a battle against a super dangerous species. Lucifer nodded and said. That's right. The Taigu itself is equivalent to the super dangerous species itself. It's just that some people are strong enough to exert the full power of the Taigu and even become stronger. Some people can even reach the limit of the Taigu. Less than. General Bude said calmly, probably Brand, who used the power of the evil spirit to the fullest and was able to kill hundreds of people. Lucifer nodded secretly. General Bude and Esdeath were among the very few who could strengthen the power of the Taigu again, surpassing the power of the Taigu itself. Even super dangerous species could be killed at will. I don't know if Red Eyes counts as Lucifer, but Main's dying moment should also count, as well as Lightning and Susanoo. Come on, General Bude. Lucifer said to him. General Bude looked at Lucifer and felt that he seemed unfamiliar. Is this guy really good at fighting? Forget it, just kill him with one punch. Unlike General Bude, His Majesty the Emperor could see Lucifer's reality at a glance. He saw that Lucifer dared to challenge General Bude after seeing him display the power of thunder and lightning, thinking that he was also a strong man. I believe a little bit of Lucifer's words. After His Majesty the Emperor announced the start, General Bude crossed the distance between the two people without saying a word at a speed that was too fast to be seen by the naked eye, appeared in front of Lucifer, and then punched him. Lucifer's pupils shrank. He saw General Bude's movement and his punch, so he followed suit. When General Bude saw that Lucifer had kept up with his speed, he immediately punched out without any reservation. Boom! The ground exploded, and the shock wave knocked the surrounding guards and maids to the ground. His Majesty the Emperor managed to sit firmly against the armrests of the throne. Then I saw General Bude and Lucifer fighting each other with their fists. What a hard punch! Lucifer clicked his tongue. General Bude was a little surprised. He could see that Lucifer's punching posture, action structure, and stance were all wrong in all aspects that were very important for the battle, but he received a punch from himself who had experienced many battles. You must know that this punch is unreserved. Without using the Taigu, General Bude can crush boulders with one punch. May I have your name? General Bude retracted his fist and asked. Lucifer. Lucifer said his name. Lucy, strange name. General Bude frowned. Next, I have to get serious, because you are an enemy who can let me use the Taigu. Do you want to continue? General Bude asked. Certainly. Lucifer said. He realized that with the punch he just punched Todoroki, he just felt as if his fist had touched a large piece of sponge that was flying towards him at a rapid speed. After all, although he is only a level 1 Kryptonian, his superpowers have been fully awakened. The double protection of Bug's biological force field and the iron body makes Lucifer's physical resistance ridiculously high. Your Majesty, please leave here. General Bud said respectfully to the Emperor. No need, Bud. The Emperor suddenly said. General Bud didn't understand. I believe him. After all, there are not many people in the Empire who can catch your punch. The Emperor said. But. General Bud wanted to say that Lucifer was very suspicious. This guy is not good at fighting at all. How can he be the strongest warrior? No need to say more, Lucy, right? The Emperor looked at Lucifer. Your Majesty, it's Lulu, lizard she, Fofa, Lucifer. Lucifer corrected him after hearing this. When the Emperor heard him say this, he was stunned for a moment and then laughed. Okay, Lucifer, can you really solve the northern foreign ethnic groups for the Empire? Lucifer paused. Okay. He hesitated because he had never killed anyone before and didn't know if he could actually do it. Moreover, if he did it, he would be the second by Chi. How many troops do you need? The Emperor asked. At least 100,000 people, because they are needed to clean up the battlefield. Lucifer said immediately. Chapter 3, Expedition. You are listening at NovelsMarvel. Okay, then I'll give you 100,000 soldiers. I have only one request, that is, even if we can't completely eliminate the northern ethnic groups, at least we must make them unable to continue to invade the empire. The emperor nodded and agreed directly. He still left room for Lucifer, as long as Lucifer could make the northern ethnic groups unable to invade the empire. He felt that the possibility of completely eliminating this was too small. Lucifer naturally would not fail to understand the emperor's meaning, and felt that this emperor was really a good emperor, speaking with room for people everywhere. Yes. Lucifer naturally would not be ungrateful. General Bud frowned, always feeling that it seemed not very appropriate, but his family had served the royal family for generations, and adhered to the blind loyalty that soldiers could not get involved in politics, so he did not continue to say anything. Lucifer's appointment was soon made. Lucifer became the new general and would lead 100,000 troops to attack the northern ethnic groups. I don't know if I can meet the brave warrior Numa Sika of the north. Lucifer changed into the general's uniform, and his temperament looked different. He has a body that can support the uniform. He has been working out for many years. Although he has not become a big guy, he has all the necessary muscles. He does not look skinny and is tall. Then he put on the same military cap as Esdeath. The Empire asked him what weapons he needed. Lucifer thought about it. Although he could kill people with his fists and feet, and he also had attack methods such as heat vision and freezing breath, it seemed that using weapons would be good. At least it would be cleaner. The weapons that can be used by the general are naturally not ordinary iron tools, but are forged with the material of the Imperial equipment, orichalcum. Except for the super dangerous materials without the Imperial equipment, there is no difference in hardness and sharpness with the Imperial equipment. This is also the reason why Esdeath can use the sword to fight against Susanu's Aim no Kurosakumo sword. Before the Imperial equipment was made, the powerful empire relied on the army and such weapons and strong men to defeat those super dangerous species, and then the Imperial equipment was created. Lucifer also unexpectedly met Nageshidan. She is not a general yet, and she is following Lucifer to carry out missions. The long-haired version of Nageshidan, and she looks very young. Lucifer found that after the real person, Nageshidan was incredibly beautiful. After all, she was originally a flawless paper man. After the real person, her skin was simply envied by all women. The army needs to prepare for an expedition to the northern foreign nations, so it will take some time. It is not so fast to set off immediately. Lucifer also took this time to learn about the current empire. Minister Ernest, the fat man, has already shown his head, but it is naturally not such an important position as a minister now. There is no little emperor among the emperor's descendants, and he may not have been born yet, or he has been born, but it has not been announced yet. There are currently several princes and princesses, but they are just background boards. In the original plot, after the emperor was killed by Ernest, the royal family fought for the throne. Ernest helped the little emperor win the fight and became the emperor. It can be regarded as an alien version of holding the emperor hostage to control the princes. Then, Lucifer found Esdeath. Lucifer originally thought it was unlikely to find Esdeath. After all, Esdeath seemed to have been a gladiator for a while, but he didn't expect to find him. But after finding him, Lucifer could only watch. He was not really a general of the empire now. He had to win this battle to be considered a real general of the empire, so he couldn't exercise some privileges. General Lucifer, we are ready, Lucifer's adjutant said to him. Very good, the northern aliens have now invaded most of the northern border of the empire. We have to act immediately. Lucifer pulled the brim of his military cap and continued, it is worth complaining that the empire already has all kinds of guns and even mechanical Gundam technology, but it has no vehicles that can transport troops on a large scale, which means that after something goes wrong, it can only rely on the speed of the army's movement. This is the reason why a country was restricted from expanding its territory in ancient times, but the empire, which is full of magic and science fiction, is also like this, which is very speechless. Even if there is no mechanical power vehicle and it cannot be researched, can't we catch some dangerous species for transportation? Lucifer was full of interest at first, but soon became bored. However, after leaving the Imperial capital, he finally encountered something interesting, that is the attack of dangerous species. there are as many dangerous species in this world as wild beasts. There will be a soil dragon on the road where people often pass by, but trained humans can easily kill these dangerous species. Of course, powerful dangerous species need to be dealt with by Imperial equipment users or people with the strength of Imperial equipment users. Lucifer does not need soldiers to take action every time, but goes out personally, on the one hand to kill monsters and become stronger, and on the other hand to gather the morale of the army. Why were Lu Bu and Xiang Yu able to win so many wars with fewer people? Isn't it because their personal bravery and strong military force gave their troops enough confidence? The spirit is very important. The Han dynasty was able to fight one Han against 5 Hu. Is it really because the physical fitness of the Han people is better than that of the Hu people? Of course not, that's because of the spirit. The Hu people were beaten by Emperor Wu of Han and were instinctively afraid of the Han people when they met them. The Han people instinctively felt that they were stronger than them, and they would never lose or be defeated no matter how they fought. They even dared to charge with 10 times less troops. Lucifer disappeared in an instant, and when he appeared again, the dozens of dangerous species that appeared had all been cut in half. The weapon made by the Empire for Lucifer was a broadsword, which was Lucifer's own request. In the case of high-speed movement, the power of the rapier or the long sword is not much improved. These two weapons are used for stabbing. If it is a heavy sword like Guts and Berserk, it is better to use a thick-backed broadsword, because if it is in the case of high-speed movement, as long as the speed is enough, the broadsword does not matter even if it is not sharpened, and it can completely cut off any enemy. Lucifer originally wanted to use thermal vision to deal with the dangerous species, but the thermal vision of the level 1 Kryptonian was so weak that it could only be used to light a fire, and it could only be used to ignite the dangerous species continuously, so he had to use weapons. After a few times, Lucifer fell in love with this extremely violent fighting style. With one strike, the dangerous creature was neatly cut in half, blood would not spurt everywhere. "Great, General Lucifer," Lucifer's adjutant and soldiers said excitedly. Chapter 4, First Battle Victory. You are listening at NovelsMarvel. The army all worships the strong, otherwise there would be no fighting generals and the loss of the fighting generals would affect morale. These days, Lucifer, who became a general by air, has changed all the soldiers' views on him. He is a strong man. No matter what kind of danger it is, it can be dealt with one blow, and it is so powerful that it is unimaginable. Keep going. Lucifer was expressionless, but he actually felt pretty good inside. He has also been upgraded to level 2 and feels much stronger than before. At least if General Bude doesn't use the Taiga now, Lucifer can defeat him with one blow. After all, it is a Kryptonian template. When placed in the game, it is born with a hero unit. The bonus is naturally much higher than that of a minion. Upgrading to a level may give bonus attributes equivalent to the 10th or even 20th level of a minion. Empire, Northern Territory. In the extremely cold area, there are still many people from the Empire living here, such as Esdeath's former ethnic tribes, which are now being invaded by foreign tribes from the north. Before the rise of Esdeath, no effective barrier had been established here. Even the city walls were only built later. For the foreign peoples in the north, this was an area where they could come and go freely, and the Empire could only station at the northern border. It is not so cold there and the soldiers will not completely lose their combat effectiveness. Now, Lucifer has entered here with an army of 100,000 people. Imperial soldiers accustomed to warm climates experienced attrition even before the war started in the far north. Severe frostbite and severe colds are life-threatening consequences. It's so outrageous. Lucifer was speechless. Fortunately, he didn't expect these soldiers to participate in the battle. He just wanted them to help clean the battlefield. The Empire's medical conditions are well developed, and the current person in power is not a little emperor, so there are not many casualties among soldiers. Because of the existence of the Taigu, the Empire does not pay much attention to hot weapons, so today's wars are still a collision of cold weapons. After all, each Taigu user can kill hundreds of people or even match thousands of troops. The number of people in front of the Taigu user doesn't make much sense. Then Lucifer and the others encountered a foreign race from the north who was plundering the local people, men, women and children. The women among them were captured and the rest were killed. This group of people didn't even feel scared when the Imperial army appeared. The main reason was that they had fought against the Empire so many times. Don't they still know the level of the Imperial army? As long as there is no Taiga user, they have nothing to fear. Even if there is the Taiga user, they can just run away. The Taiga user can't chase and kill many people. Moreover, the northern border is so big. How many places can the Taiga user stay in to defend against it? Not to mention the importance of the Taiga user, the foreign ethnic groups in the north were able to obtain the Taiga because the Taiga user was tricked and killed here, and the Taiga was also taken away. You really deserve to be killed. Lucifer originally wondered whether he could kill people like he did to dangerous species, but after seeing the scene in front of him, he no longer had any worries. A foreign race that was chasing an old man suddenly split into two parts, including its man and horse. Then there were several foreign races that were tearing a woman's clothes off, and their upper and lower bodies were separated. It was as if there were invisible sharp blades massacring foreign nations. This is actually the result of the biological force field. When Lucifer bursts out at unimaginable speeds, it will not cause a sound barrier or a heat barrier. Otherwise, Lucifer would burst out at such a high speed and just pass by others. It can tear people apart. After getting rid of the foreign ethnic groups that were entangled with the local ethnic groups, Lucifer showed up. General Lucifer, the Imperial army has become accustomed to Lucifer's terrifying speed. The remaining foreign ethnic groups in the north cursed and turned around and wanted to run away. It's really unlucky that I met the Taiga user. Run quickly or you will be killed later. Let's move to another place to avoid being caught up. Lucifer was not in a hurry. After they ran a certain distance, he opened his mouth and took a big mouthful of cold air, and then blew it out. Freeze breath. Superman's signature skill can even ignore the laws of physics and directly blow out a star. Of course Lucifer doesn't have that kind of ability now, but this is the icy and snowy north. His freezing breath will only become more powerful. The sky is dark and the ground is dark, flying sand and rocks. Between the gloomy sky and the earth, the sudden drop in temperature caused everything to be covered with a thick layer of ice. Wave after wave of biting cold wind blew down like knives, easily killing the rows of northern aliens like matches. So stubborn, frost visible to the naked eye spread across the ground, and soon it rose high to form a vast ice field. The northern aliens who were the targets of the attack were pressed to the ground by the cold wind that froze their bones. The surface of their bodies was frozen with ice. They stood still and emitted the slightest bit of cold air. Thick crystal icicles connected their bodies to the ground. One breath can solve nearly 10,000 people. If it weren't for the ability to strengthen freezing breath here, Lucifer wouldn't be able to do it. Lucifer's men were naturally stunned. What are you still doing? Let's raise a bonfire and clean the battlefield. Lucifer said to them, as for the life and death of the foreign peoples in the north, their blood has turned into ice crystals and damaged their blood vessels. Even if the ice melts, they will not be able to survive, and after killing so many people at once, Lucifer successfully upgraded to level 3, little things add up, and there seems to be no experience penalty for this thing. How much experience does a monster have? Even if Lucifer upgrades later, he still has that much experience. This allows Lucifer to not let go of anything that may become a monster, accumulate a little to make a lot, gather sand to form a tower, cut wood with ropes, and penetrate rocks with drops of water. If you want to become stronger, you can't let go of any experience. In such a harsh place, if there weren't dangerous species with plenty of meat, they probably wouldn't be able to survive. Lucifer rode his horse in a circle. With the biological force field, his mount would not feel the cold. Unlike other horses that were half frozen to death, there is no way to grow anything here, which encourages the local people to make a living by hunting. Just like the nomads, fortunately, there are enough dangerous species and they grow large enough, and there are also many weak dangerous species. With the size of the dangerous species, one head can meet the daily needs of a tribe of several hundred people. Report back today on the annihilation of tens of thousands of foreign races. Lucifer told his adjutant that this was a great encouragement. For the first time on this land, the Empire had achieved 0 for 10,000 results with the foreign nations in the north. It also proved that what Lucifer said was true. He could solve the foreign ethnic groups in the north. Yes. General Lucifer. Now the adjutant looked at Lucifer with enthusiasm. Chapter 5, Chasing the Dead to the North. You are listening at NovelsMarvel. Your Majesty, General Lucifer won the first battle and killed more than 10,000 enemies. In the Empire, His Majesty the Emperor is having a meeting, but there is no such thing as a court meeting. The Emperor loves the people like his own son, and often summons officials from all walks of life for meetings due to various people's livelihood issues. At this time, a guard came in quickly and said excitedly. What? His Majesty the Emperor immediately stood up, shocked by the news. Although he also has expectations, he is still more uneasy. He doesn't know how many of the 100,000 soldiers sent this time will come back. If they can't come back, what will their families do? Even the issue of pensions has just been discussed. Discussed? I didn't expect there would be results now. What are the casualties of our troops? His Majesty the Emperor then asked the question that concerned him most. Only more than 100 of our troops were injured, and no one died. The injuries of more than 100 people were due to the cold, not battle damage. Okay. His Majesty the Emperor was extremely excited. You must know that even the Imperial guards could not annihilate more than 10,000 enemies in one battle. This was beyond the imagination of the Emperor and officials. Even the generals were dumbfounded and doubted the authenticity of the intelligence. But then the intelligence said that because of transportation difficulties, the corpse was not considered for transportation, but the Empire had advanced things like cameras, so Lucifer had a Jingguan piled up. It was horrifying to watch, but His Majesty the Emperor just couldn't bear it and accepted it, especially since it could be seen that it was not killing good people to take credit, nor was it looking for old, weak women and children of foreign races to prop up the scene. All of them were the corpses of adult men. There were tens of thousands, if not more than 10,000. With so many corpses, it was clear that Lucifer was not lying. After the Empire received the news, Lucifer had crossed the northern border and entered the territory of the foreign nations in the north. Along the way, the number of northern aliens who died at Lucifer's hands has exceeded the number reported to the Empire several times, and the 100,000-strong army began to be somewhat short of manpower. Because the deeper you go, the colder it becomes. It's hard to imagine how Esdeath and her army stayed in such a ghost place for so long. Anyway, everyone in the army brought by Lucifer has been frostbitten. The foreign nations in the north also learned about the emergence of a powerful general and Taiga user in the Empire. Lucifer's freezing breath and heat vision do look very much like the abilities of the Taiga user. The key is that this guy is too lazy. Every time he takes a breath, he dies. It may be a weakness for the northern foreigners to think that he can fight in close combat, otherwise he wouldn't be so afraid of being approached. After thinking of this, he sent several Taiga users to assassinate Lucifer. Then these Taiga users were tragically killed by Lucifer. With the heat vision present, Lucifer actually has no time to accumulate power, and he thinks it's good to be as powerful as Darkseid. Anyway, there are basically no people who can't be killed by the heat vision. Now Lucifer's heat the sight was already terrible. Even if there was, it would only be a matter of one punch. The foreign ethnic groups in the north chose to retreat after several Taiga envoys' assassinations failed and there was no more news, but Lucifer kept pursuing them, although the speed was not fast due to the wind and snow. However, as the saying goes, the most terrifying thing is not immediate death, but death that is constantly approaching. Lucifer's army is chasing after the foreign peoples in the north unswervingly, and those who fall behind will be killed. And being chased like this, they can't rest and live peacefully, and can only keep running away. However, this is a cold area with a very harsh living environment, almost as bad as the Arctic, maybe even worse. Therefore, no matter how familiar they are with this place, it is inevitable that people will start to lose their numbers due to natural environmental factors. First they abandoned the old, weak, women and children who couldn't run fast, then the injured and disabled. It's starting to get chaotic. After Lucifer saw a dozen lone adult men of the northern alien race protecting a group of old, weak, sick and disabled, he knew that the northern alien race was beginning to have disagreements and internal strife. because these people all had injuries and bloodstains on their bodies. When they saw the appearance of Lucifer and the army, they knelt down and surrendered. However, Lucifer had already seen many people on the border of the empire who knelt down and surrendered being massacred by them. Lucifer felt that he was not qualified to forgive these northern foreign nations for them. Moreover, it is not convenient for them to lead so many people to chase the northern foreigners who continue to flee, so they might as well kill them all. Accompanied by curses, cries, and screams, the Imperial army did not show mercy. They also saw many horrific scenes and understood that these people were completely beasts in human skin and did not deserve pity or sympathy. "General, our supplies do not allow us to continue our pursuit." Lucifer's adjutant's face has changed a lot. After all, he has experienced too many hardships. The skin on his face has fallen off, healed and fallen off again. He is obviously a very handsome young man, but now he is almost like an uncle due to the wind and snow. "Isn't the supply obtained from these foreign tribes in the north not enough?" Lucifer asked with a frown. They didn't have the habit of storing large amounts of food, and they destroyed a lot of it by setting fires and poisoning while escaping. The adjutant shook his head. The Imperial army was able to pursue them to such depth only because of their anger and passion. In fact, they had lost contact with the Empire's supply transportation for several months. It was only because the invincible Lord Lucifer killed many dangerous species that blocked his way that he was able to hold on until now, but he couldn't hold on any longer. Lucifer himself could continue to chase, but there was no point. This group of northern foreigners had been scared out of their wits by him. "Then go back." Lucifer didn't insist. After doing this, the Emperor was not incompetent, so he naturally wouldn't think that he hadn't fulfilled his promise. Moreover, he had left room for maneuver. Lucifer just wanted to do it thoroughly, so he kept chasing for so long. After they went back, they quickly reconnected with the Empire. The Empire had actually sent an order saying that they could stop chasing. Later, when they couldn't contact each other, the order was constantly transmitted. It wasn't until now that Lucifer received it. "They all told me not to continue chasing." After reading it, Lucifer said lazily, but he didn't rush back to the Imperial capital immediately. Esdeath couldn't run away, and he was now strong enough to do whatever he wanted. The Empire's idea was to build a wall on the border. Since Lucifer had already driven away the northern foreign tribes, they could just keep them out. Chapter 6, The Alert Fatty. You are listening at NovelsMarvel.audio. Lucifer began to return to the Imperial capital. During his time at the border, he used his frozen breath to directly shape a huge ice wall. Judging from the weather here, it is absolutely impossible for this ice wall to have problems or melt. As long as the people here water it daily, it will become stronger and larger, completely blocking the northern foreigners from the wall. Unexpectedly, His Majesty the Emperor was waiting for him outside and did not let Lucifer enter the Imperial capital before welcoming him. The group of people who greeted them also included Nijexidon, Esdeath, the immature 100-man killer Brand, his boss General Liwa, and Ernest, a fat guy. I didn't expect him to be able to do it. Sneak into the team welcoming Lucifer. Lucifer, His Majesty the Emperor was very happy and excited. The foreign ethnic groups in the north had troubled the Empire for who knows how many years. He had been troubled by this problem since he ascended the throne, but he did not expect that this problem would now be solved by Lucifer, an outsider. His Majesty. Lucifer dismounted and bowed slightly. As long as he was not asked to kneel, Lucifer didn't care. Anyway, although the Empire had a kneeling ceremony, Lucifer said on the first day that he would not kneel to others, so the Emperor Your Majesty doesn't care about this issue anymore. Then came the celebration banquet prepared by the Emperor. The people of the Imperial capital didn't feel much at all. They didn't live in the north, so they naturally didn't care about the imminent threat from the foreign ethnic groups in the north. However, they also knew that a very powerful general had appeared in the Empire. To Lucifer's surprise, because his performance was so outstanding, His Majesty the Emperor was overjoyed and gave him the position of general. You must know that in the original plot, even Esdeath is only a general, not a general. There is only one great general, Bud. Lucifer's merit this time was so great that he rose to the top in one step. Even if he made more merit, he would not be promoted. The general had already reached the top, so Lucifer thought it might be because Ernest wanted to control Esdeath and give her a possibility of advancement, so he didn't give her the position of general. Unlike now that His Majesty the Emperor is still alive, he naturally doesn't care about this. Lucifer now understands why some soldiers die for their confidants. You treat me as a soldier of the country, and I will repay these illusions as a soldier of the country. Regarding the Emperor's operation, Lucifer felt that he could not be killed like in the original plot. Then we must first put an end to Ernest, the fat guy. As a newly appointed general, Lucifer immediately transferred Esdeath to his command as an adjutant. The original adjutant was promoted by Lucifer in an incomprehensible manner, so naturally he could not continue to be Lucifer. Adjutant, although he said he was willing to continue to follow Lucifer, then Lucifer told His Majesty the Emperor that the border was not peaceful, so it was best to send a capable person there. So Lucifer felt that Ernest was a very good official. His Majesty the Emperor did not reject Lucifer's words. He was just curious about how Lucifer knew that there was an official like Ernest in the Empire when he had been in the North for such a long time. I was actually targeted by the general. Ernest was puzzled by that. He met General Lucifer very rarely, or even never, that is, when he welcomed the team. Moreover, General Lucifer didn't think much of himself, but instead he seemed to pay more attention to the two female officers, General Najihitan and Esdeath, which made him feel that General Lucifer's preferences were very clear. Unexpectedly, in the blink of an eye, he would be pushed to the position of General Manager of the Northern Territory. For others, this was a promotion, especially now that the Northern Territory was defeated by General Lucifer. It was not as dangerous as before, and it was completely a big deal. Make extra money. Ernest didn't think so. He was very self-aware. He was a fat man, even though he had only recently started to gain weight. Because he had stayed at the Imperial Fist Temple before, when Ernest was not as fat as he is now, he could even be said to be fat. It's full of muscles. It's not that he has outstanding appearance, nor does he have the ability to display his talents. In addition, General Lucifer is not from the Empire. He is an outsider. How could he take a fancy to his ability at a glance and appoint him as the Northern Territory manager? Ernest thought about it, then resolutely gave himself a knife, and then told His Majesty the Emperor that he had encountered gangsters, was seriously injured, and was unable to serve as the governor of the North. This damn fat guy is pretty smart. It took Lucifer a few days to find out about this. His Majesty the Emperor said that he had sent someone to inquire about Ernest's condition. He was stabbed by a gangster and it was estimated that it would take 1 or 2 years to recover. Naturally, it was impossible for him to become a Northern Territory of managers. Anyone with a discerning eye would know the problem at a glance, not to mention that Lucifer also knew that Dead Fatty was a master of the Imperial Fist Temple. It was a training base for powerful warriors who could kill and compete with the Emperor's wielders. What kind of gangster could be so powerful that he could hurt someone? To him. It is not the Imperial capital where night raids will be rampant in the future. Chapter 7 Esdeath. You are listening at NovelsMarvel. But it doesn't matter. The fat guy can escape for a while, but he can't escape forever. Lucifer will definitely throw him to the north, and then he will occasionally feel the cold. Lucifer's biggest interest now is the woman in front of him, who is also his new lieutenant, General Esdeath. General, please tell me what I need to do. Esdeath looked at Lucifer in front of him and said, she didn't know why Lucifer took a fancy to her and made her his subordinate. Don't worry, General Esdeath, right? I know you believe in the law of the jungle. In this way, I will fight with you later. If you win, you can do whatever you want to me. If I win, you will be mine. You do whatever I ask you to do. Lucifer has no interest in correcting Esdeath's character. It has already been formed. How to correct it, let alone why it should be corrected. Isn't this good? It is very suitable for this world, and, corrected, is this person still Esdeath? Esdeath raised her eyebrows when she heard Lucifer say this. These words suited her well. General, aren't you joking? Esdeath asked suspiciously. No way, if you can beat me, even if you want the position of general, I will give it to you. Lucifer is not afraid that Esdeath will not be fooled. This woman is competitive and fierce. This kind of thing is the best for her. There is no need to worry about her disapproval, mainly because Esdeath is also very confident in herself. Good, Esdeath immediately agreed, fearing that Lucifer would regret it, and quickly urged him to take action. Lucifer is also afraid that Esdeath will go back on his word. If he misses this village, he can't do whatever he wants to Esdeath. The two dueled in the general's mansion given to Lucifer by His Majesty the Emperor. In the original plot, Esdeath lived in the palace, but Lucifer was different. After all, the situation was different. Although His Majesty the Emperor loves the Queen very much, there are no concubines in the harem. In addition, Esdeath was a woman, so no one said anything when she lived in the palace. Bring it on. Lucifer said to Esdeath very calmly. Don't you use weapons? Esdeath knew that General Lucifer had a weapon given to him by His Majesty, but that thing has not been used since Lucifer upgraded and became stronger. No need, just come, don't worry. Lucifer shook his head. Esdeath snorted coldly, feeling that she had been underestimated, and drew out her long sword. Then she crossed the distance between Lucifer and her in one step, almost out of the afterimage. Lucifer admired Esdeath's progress and movements in slow motion frame by frame, then stretched out his hand and grabbed Esdeath's weapon. Esdeath's expression changed visibly, as if she was surprised at Lucifer's speed. However, all her movements seemed slow to Lucifer, and she was unable to avoid Lucifer's grasp. The weapon just made from the extremely hard Allaha was scratched to pieces by Lucifer, and then Esdeath was hugged by Lucifer. I won. Lucifer said to Esdeath. Esdeath, who was holding her hands, found that Lucifer's hands were like immovable objects. No matter how hard she tried, they could not move at all. She could feel that Lucifer's muscles were even relaxed and he didn't exert too much force. How is this possible? Esdeath is unbelievable. When she was more than 10 years old, she killed all the dangerous species near her tribe, including even super dangerous species, so she has always been confident in her own strength. After joining the Imperial army the same is true. No matter what enemy he faces, he can easily deal with it, and then he quickly becomes a general. This was the first time she encountered an enemy as powerful as Lucifer. Boom! Esdeath's long legs kicked back, but Lucifer's balls didn't explode. Instead, her feet seemed to hit something indestructible, and the pain seemed to break. You actually kicked me in the strongest part of my body. Lucifer was very surprised. He had the strongest defense against that place, and the biological force field focused on taking care of it. When Esdeath kicked her, the force of the shock almost caused her long legs to fall apart. You still won't admit defeat? Lucifer let go. Esdeath immediately punched out. This woman really refuses to admit defeat. Lucifer leisurely blocked Esdeath's attack with one hand. No matter how Esdeath attacked frantically, he could not break through this arm. It wasn't until Esdeath was tired from fighting that Lucifer seemed to react. Is it done? Esdeath looked at Lucifer with a complex expression. She had heard before that Lucifer became famous in a battle with General Bude. General Bude, who did not use the Taigu, could not do anything to Lucifer, but Esdeath has also killed many Taiga users, so he doesn't think that General Bude, a Taiga user, will be very powerful without using the Taigu. Until now, he has been completely powerless against Lucifer. Does that mean that Buddha General Toku can crush himself without using a Taigu? Are you so weak? I surrender. From now on, I am your subordinate and I will obey your orders. Esdeath calmly accepted the fact of her failure. She believed in the law of the jungle and didn't think there was anything wrong with this at all. The strong could dominate the weak. Well, good, come on, sit here. Lucifer patted his thigh. Esdeath sat on it without hesitation, which surprised Lucifer. He thought Esdeath would hesitate for a while, but he didn't expect Esdeath to be so straightforward. This woman really doesn't care at all. Chapter 8 Imperial Gear. You are listening at NovelsMarvel.audio. Lucifer originally just wanted to tease Esdeath, but now that she was so direct, Lucifer was confused by her. Esdeath sat on his lap and stopped moving, as if she was letting Lucifer manipulate her. Lucifer was not the kind of coward who wouldn't dare to eat meat even if it came to his mouth. He simply picked up Esdeath and put her on the table. Esdeath groaned and just looked at Lucifer without resisting. Lucifer couldn't bear to let go of Esdeath. He knew the taste after eating the marrow. Esdeath tried to take the upper hand several times during this process, but she underestimated the Kryptonians' fighting power, so that now she is so soft that she doesn't want to move. You will be my woman from now on. Lucifer helped Esdeath get dressed and then said. Casual. Esdeath felt that he had already lost. It was Lucifer's thing, and he could deal with it how he wanted, but Esdeath always felt as if something was different. However, this kind of thing cannot be solved by getting dressed. Lucifer asked people to come in and clean the table, and then he and Esdeath went to take a shower. While Lucifer was playing in the water with Esdeath, assassinations of officials began to occur across the Empire, which soon alarmed His Majesty the Emperor. As a general, Lucifer theoretically shouldn't be the one to take care of this kind of thing, but His Majesty the Emperor was anxious and no one could solve this kind of thing, so he sent someone to find Lucifer. Lucifer took it very seriously after hearing this. The Empire does not yet have such an outstanding assassination organization as it did later. The main reason is that His Majesty the Emperor is kind-hearted and would not come up with such a thing. It was all created by that fat man Ernest after he began to take control of the government, and even more so after the death of the Emperor reached its peak. Otherwise, Ernest would not have been able to help the young Emperor eliminate all competitors and promote him to the throne after the Emperor died and the princes competed for the throne. Therefore, the current assassination of officials made Lucifer wonder whether it was related to the foreign ethnic groups in the north, but the foreign ethnic groups in the north were driven so far by him in pursuit of death, and it was unlikely that they would come back so soon. As for the Revolutionary Army, there is no Revolutionary Army at this time. The people live and work in peace and contentment, and there are a few corrupt officials who dare not go too far. It is much better than in the future. They are just some ambitious people. Maybe they are the ones who did this. Lucifer chose to investigate the scene to see if he had the talent to be a detective. He might also visit the world of Detective Conan in the future. It's a pity that the people here seem to have no idea of protecting the scene, and the scene has been cleaned up. Lucifer had no choice but to tell him that if something like this happens again in the future, he must protect the scene and wait for him to come. As a general, what he said was the most important besides the Emperor. Even General Bude could only refute but not change, so the people under his command naturally did not dare to violate it. If someone really violated it, then Lucifer can also trace this line. All kinds of monsters have appeared. Could this group of careerists be the future Revolutionary Army? Lucifer thought thoughtfully. If he comes in an honest manner, Lucifer will not be afraid even if the other party comes with 48 Taiga Masters, but he is not happy with this method like a louse, which will not cause any harm to you, but it will itch and sting. His Majesty the Emperor had no objection to Lucifer setting up a special force to pursue this matter. On the contrary, he supported it, mainly because he didn't have many people at hand. So Lucifer took Esdeath and looted the Imperial equipment storehouse openly and honestly. Anyway, with His Majesty the Emperor's approval, all the Imperial equipment in the Imperial equipment storehouse was at his disposal. General Bude admonished His Majesty the Emperor, and then after Lucifer stated his reasons, His Majesty the Emperor no longer hesitated and agreed. Anyone who can kill officials without alerting the guards must be a master of assassination, maybe even a Taiga user. In this case, if the person investigating is an ordinary person, he may encounter misfortune, and Lucifer also plans to use the Taigu. Use mutual induction to determine the target. The most important thing is of course Esdeath by his side. Suddenly, Esdeath looked at the golden pot behind the Taigu table and asked. I was a little concerned just now. Is the pot placed there also a Taigu? He said and pointed towards the location of the golden pot. Oh. That one is the essence of the devil manifested by the devil, made from the blood of a super dangerous species that is said to live in the far north. Seeing where Esdeath's finger was pointing, the administrator of the Taiga library was slightly startled, and then immediately resumed his smiling look to explain to Esdeath. Is blood also a Taigu? Esdeath asked doubtfully. It is said that as long as you drink it and match it, you can gain the ability to manipulate ice unique to the super dangerous species. However, according to records, after this Imperial equipment is obtained, everyone who drinks it will lose it. They lost themselves and went crazy and finally died suddenly. Until now, this is not a good thing. However, as the administrator of the Taiga store explained and told, Esdeath's eyes became brighter and brighter, and then he walked directly to the side of the golden pot before the other party had finished speaking. And he said, "Sounds interesting, doesn't it? Wait. You don't want. This thing is very evil. I think even if you may not be able to match it. I even guess that there is no one who can match it." Seeing Esdeath walking towards the golden pot and looking very interested, the administrator of the Imperial Equipment Library said anxiously, "Now Esdeath is the new powerful General Lucifer's person. If she gets into trouble, it will not be easy for him." However, Esdeath did not think so. As early as when she entered this side hall, she felt vaguely that something was calling her. Especially after the other party explained, she felt that it was the thing in the golden pot that called her. It doesn't matter. As early as when I entered this hall, I felt that I was called by something. Until I saw this thing just now, this feeling became stronger. I can be sure that it is the blood in this pot that is calling me. Esdeath was rarely serious. She felt that she seemed to have seen the hope of defeating Lucifer. But even if that's the case, how can you guarantee yourself? Anyway, I still think this thing is too weird, and someone has said something like what you just said before, but everyone who said this is. Chapter 9, Esdeath's Accident. You are listening at NovelsMarvel.audio. Esdeath ignored the other party's dissuasion and drank the blood of this super dangerous species in the far north. She drank a pot of blood. It tastes pretty good. Esdeath said after finishing the drink. General Esdeath, how are you feeling? The manager of Taigaku asked worriedly. Nothing, it feels good. Just when Esdeath felt like there was no reaction and something wrong happened, suddenly a lot of negative emotions and information appeared in her mind. Killing. Devouring. Violence, it turns out that those guys are driven crazy by this kind of thing, ha 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 ha, but even so, don't even think about conquering me. Esdeath covered her head. She saw the information accumulated from the consciousness of the super dangerous species over the years, countless times of killing, devouring, fighting, slaughtering, and violence. This huge amount of information is enough to shock a person's brain into an idiot, or simply into a beast-like person. The super dangerous species has survived for who knows how many years. This kind of information is as vast as the sea, and human memory of just a few decades is simply vulnerable, but Esdeath was not among them. She forcibly accepted the most impactful part of the huge memory. However, these things that were scary, cruel, violent and bloody to others were what Esdeath enjoyed the most. A moment later, Esdeath breathed out extremely low-temperature white mist, and then, a special mark formed in the center of her chest. This is the Taigu appearance of the demon god, Devil's Essence. Esdeath's desire to kill was aroused hundreds or even 1,000 times more intensely, amplifying the pleasure and desire for killing, death, torture, and pain. Now she really wanted to find someone to fight. Lucifer, who was bored outside, suddenly felt something rushing towards him at a terrifying speed. Boom! The next moment, Lucifer caught the kick from Esdeath's long legs. It's a lot better, but it's not enough. Lucifer said casually, keenly noticing Esdeath's somewhat twisted expression and eyes filled with madness and murderous intent. In the original plot, Esdeath had no one to let her vent, so it settled down, making her desire to torture others even stronger, and even developed to the point where she found it very enjoyable to kill and torture. When Tasmi came out, her accumulated desire was vented with the blood of countless people. The long-suppressed hormones burst out, and she had the idea of finding a lover. Now, Esdeath feels that Lucifer is a good person to vent to. A large piece of ice smashed over, and Lucifer remained motionless. His eyes turned red. He could not see it with the naked eye. He could only see the distorted heat vision of the air and evaporated Esdeath's ice, but Esdeath followed closely. Then the attack came again. This time, dozens of ice spikes were fired at a speed comparable to an anti-material sniper rifle. Lucifer stretched out an index finger, then pulled out countless afterimages, shattered the ice spikes shot by Esdeath with his index finger, and he also fight back proactively instead of letting Esdeath vent. Lucifer had no idea of standing and getting beaten, and he wasn't used to it. Ola 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 ola. Lucifer punched with both fists. Esdeath's pupils shrank, and she could see. It's different from the invisible speed before. She thought it was because her strength had greatly increased, but she didn't know that Lucifer was taking care of her. He also saw that something was wrong with Esdeath's state. Could it be that something went wrong when fusing the Taigu? Could it be that he was the cause again? Forced by Lucifer's pressure, Esdeath kept parrying and trying to fight back, but she soon became exhausted. She had just obtained the Taigu and was not very familiar with its abilities. Esdeath was still more accustomed to close combat. But in close combat with a Kryptonian, even Steppenwolf would be beaten to pieces, so it didn't take long for Esdeath to be subdued by Lucifer. Exactly 2 hours later, Lucifer flew back to his mansion with the ragged Esdeath in his arms. He didn't know that this was because Bingfeng's desire to kill in Esdeath's body was suppressed by another desire, and then it became the desire for reproduction that Bingfeng had suppressed for thousands of years. This desire was stronger than killing. I don't know how strong the desire is. After all, it is difficult to find another super dangerous species like the Ice Phoenix, just like the cross-tailed dragon in the Sea of Clouds, which is basically the only one. Next, Lucifer couldn't rest every day, because Esdeath seemed to have changed into a different person, no longer trembling, but almost like a slut. Chapter 10 Law Enforcers and Assassins. You are listening at NovelsMarvel.audio. Lucifer didn't know what was going on, but it seemed that Esdeath's transformation into a nympho was not bad. The original bloodthirsty sadist was very tempting, but this one was even more attractive. Of course, Lucifer's enjoyment of life was soon disturbed. The assassination happened again, and this time more than a dozen officials with a good reputation were assassinated, which even caused a small riot. Although it was suppressed in time, people's hearts began to stir now. It's not that ordinary people want to join the riot. They are just afraid that their peaceful life will be disrupted. Lucifer rushed to the scene and saw the well-preserved traces. This is good news, indicating that at least there should be no people from the other side among the people he sent out. However, after Lucifer looked through it, he relied on the supervision of the Kryptonians to find a lot of traces that ordinary people could not find, but it was useless. He lacked detailed knowledge in this area and couldn't even remember the particle interaction. After watching so many episodes of Conan, I don't know what I saw. Besides, even if he knew, it seems that he can't cooperate with the current conditions. It's not like modern technology and instruments can analyze and lock it. It's really troublesome. Lucifer shook his head, but he also had his own way. Otherwise, why did he form the Taiga user? It was to cast a wide net, and use the Kryptonian super hearing and supervision to lock the situation of each Taiga user. When they were attacked, the Taiga user could at least hold on for a longer time, and Lucifer could arrive quickly. He arrived, and all problems were no longer a problem. It's just that the Taiga that appeared in the original plot are traceable, and most of them are not in the hands of the Empire. Nageshetan is still using the romantic turret pumpkin. After all, she will take it to the Revolutionary Army in the future. Now, Nageshetan has been recruited to join the Special Forces, and the same is true for the user Brand, who is haunted by evil spirits. Lucifer values Brand the most. After all, he is a strong man who can kill hundreds of people, and in the original plot, he can kill 3 beast warriors at once, and killing other Taiga users is as easy as cutting melons and vegetables, although it may not be as powerful as the 4 top fighters, Esdeath, General Bud, Susanoo, and Akame. It is not a problem to rank 5th. As for the National Protection Mecha, that thing is not a human. There is also Lubbock, the user of the 1000 Changes cross-tail, who joined the army because of his admiration for Nageshetan. As for Leone, she has not been found yet, and it is not known whether she has obtained the Lion King belt. Not to mention Hill, the confused glasses girl. Asking her to protect people may not be successful. The 2 sisters Akame and Kurome were found. After all, they have been cruelly separated and then performed their respective tasks. After being recruited by General Lucifer, the 2 sisters reunited, and I don't know how happy they are. Lon is still a teacher now, and Lucifer has no intention of looking for him. As for Will, he can't be found. He went to sea to fight. It is said that he may not come back for more than half a year. After all, he is the Imperial Navy. General Lucifer. Seeing Lucifer appear, the members of this special force law enforcer immediately saluted him. Well, now is the first mission of the law enforcers. Lucifer didn't waste any words and threw a stack of documents to them. According to speculation, the assassin's next target may be these people. I ask each of you to choose a target to protect. After Lucifer finished speaking, Nageshetan and the others immediately stepped forward to pick up the documents and check them. In these documents, Lucifer focused on having people write down the good things and practical things these officials did. They were all virtuous and loyal officials. After all, this group of people are basically in the good camp. The only one who is not clear about the camp is that the black pupil has not been led astray. Lucifer has seen that although she has taken a lot of banned drugs to gain combat power, her body is not yet riddled with holes and can be cured. This group of assassins constantly deal with loyal officials and wise officials. The purpose is very simple, that is, they want the empire to become chaotic, so the task of our law enforcers is to eliminate all of these people and protect the lives of the people of the empire from being disturbed and destroyed. Lucifer's righteous words made Nageshetan and the others very agree. General Lucifer, please rest assured, we will definitely protect you all, Brand said with passion. He just felt that this group of assassins was too hateful. General Lucifer, is it dangerous to disperse the manpower? Nageshetan proposed a different idea. Although this woman's IQ was a little bit wrong later, her IQ in military operations and combat was still fine. She felt that since the assassins were powerful, they were able to complete the assassination after the Empire was alert and prepared so many times. Although the Emperor's weapon was very powerful, it was also very dangerous when it was outnumbered. It doesn't matter, as long as you encounter the enemy, call my name as soon as possible, and I will arrive immediately. General Lucifer said calmly. Although he is not as fast as the global speed of Dachau, it is still no problem for a mere empire, and calling his name is more recognizable. Lucifer's super brain is not as powerful as Super's. With super hearing and super vision, the information he receives every minute and every second is beyond imagination. He can capture the sound of a raindrop falling on the ground and the spreading waves, as well as the vibration of the air, thousands of meters away. The current super brain can only barely process so much information. Nageshetan was a little surprised. General Lucifer was probably joking. The distances of these targets were different, and the farthest one was even very exaggerated. The main reason was that even if they knew that they might become the targets of assassins, it was impossible to gather all these officials together. It was okay for 1 or 2 days, but after a long time, there would be chaos everywhere. I believe in General Lucifer. Brand didn't say anything. After all, Lucifer expelled the northern aliens for the Empire. Under the circumstances that Lucifer deliberately let people publicize and build momentum, everyone thought that Lucifer was a general who served the country and the people. This world actually has no means to control public opinion. Of course, Lucifer had to use this incident to build a golden body for himself. Anyway, he was not lying. There were northern residents who had been harmed by the northern aliens and told their stories about how cruel and inhumane the northern aliens were. Only in this way, Lucifer believed that the momentum of the revolutionary army could be stopped. After all, after being propagated like this for many years, the northern aliens were either shit or shit.